Hey, welcome everybody to Stronger Together with Marc and Matt. How's it going, Matt?
It's going well. Mark, how you doing today?
Good. We had a little pause there from your screen. Yeah, everything's going great. Can't complain. We got a lot happening here with the Mark Network. We've reached over the 1,000 community members, driving engagement, carrying conversations on the app. We're getting ready to head out to Fort Lauderdale, the Abilities Expo. So a lot of great things happening. How about you and what's going on with you and United Spinal?
Well, things are very busy for us. We're currently in the Employment Awareness Month, so we're running a bunch of different virtual programming with one in-person program in New York City focused around employment services. So if anyone's interested, they can go to our events page on unitedspinal.org and sign up to participate in some of the employment groups. And then aside from that, we are wrapping up the year. We've been very busy. Our advocacy team has been working hard to on a couple of different great platforms. We launched a new health equity platform. Our parking guide just got released, and so some exciting stuff. We're staying busy. It's a crazy time in the world, so our organization is constantly trying to ensure that the disability community has representation in all decisions made at a government level. So aside from that, I've just been busy with you know just started rugby season, so we got our first tournament this weekend down in DC. So I'm excited to get on the court again, dust off the wheels. So, good stuff. Lots of good stuff. So, Mark, today we have a great guest. I don't know how much you know about Edward Funches, but Edward and I have been associates for friends for, I don't know, now 15 years. And I'm glad that we are privileged to have him on today to share his story. I think his story is a very powerful one, speaking about, you know, rising up from great challenges and adversity to create a huge difference in the disability community environment. So, Mark, if
Yeah, I'm
there's,
excited.
what was that? I'm sorry.
I said I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to learn and hear more about his story. And you've told me so much about him, and I've read enough on him. But I want to hear from the man, the myth, and the legend. You know.
All
So with
right.
no
Well,
further ado, I'm going to bring him on. Hey
hey,
Ed,
Ed, how are
how you
you?
doing, Edward?
I am well. I am well. No complaints.
So, Ed, thank you for joining us today. I'm excited to hear you share your story with the greater community so they can fully understand what is possible in life with the right mindset, and drive. Ed, you and I have been friends for many years now, and you have a very powerful story. But before we get into your story, I'd love for you to share. You are the founder and president of Inclusion Movement. Can you tell us a little bit about your organization?
Yes, inclusion. I created the company to bring awareness for the disability community. The disability community is a community that is always looked over and left out. And I actually started the company as a marketing and advertisement company because I published a magazine some years ago. And in the course of me publishing the magazine, I never seen, people with disabilities inside ads and on commercials, and that was the purpose of me creating inclusion, wanting to bring awareness to the community.
Oh, excellent.
That's
Um,
amazing.
Ed, do you want to share a little bit about your background story that led you to creating inclusion?
Well, like I said, I published a magazine. I was invited to one of the expos, and um, as I visited expo, I have never really seen that many individuals with disabilities. And me being just a person that's always thinking about making money, and I seen that, the disability community has the highest unemployment rate than any community. And I seen a lot of vendors there, and I'm saying, like, they're the ones that are making the money off of the disability community, and the community is not, making any money. And that was the purpose of me creating, the inclusion and putting out the market and advertisement for the company.
I mean, Edward, that's the first thing I saw when I went to the Abilities Expo, right? And I seen that community and seen the vendors, and they care so much. I mean, in reality, a lot of them do care, but at the end of the day, it's always business, right? It's their bottom dollar. They're going to sell us the most profitable piece of equipment, right? And it was frustrating dealing with able-bodied people looking for these equipments that we needed, right? And they make so much money off us. And you're a businessman like I was in my day too, growing up in the city. And we have a similar story in a sense, in some parts. And I'm a hustler, and I saw that, and that's what I did in the nightclub business, in the music industry. And I was a hustler, and I said, well, we as a community can do this, and we should be making that money.
That's right.
It should be in our pockets, not these people's pockets. So that's why I created the Marc Network, the Mobility Awareness Resource Community. It's that obligation, like opportunity for us to communicate and share that, and show the value of our community, because we have value. We have
That's right.
So I love it. It's so much like Matt too. Me, you, and Matt, we're all here because of what we've seen, and walking, rolling in our wheelchairs into this. We all notice the same thing: a fragmented community. I love it. And I want to hear more. Keep telling us what happened.
It's just really a sad situation that that the disability community that we're faced with. I had an individual, a highly deputy mayor for New York City, and I happened to see him. And at this particular day, I was going to a fundraiser, but he had a statement that he had. He said, when the city becomes fair and more inclusive, we all benefit. And I like that statement because, my company deals with a lot of people that are at a disadvantage, and we're not included, and it's not fair. So I happened to see this individual one day in front of City Hall, and I approached him. And before I could say anything, he said, "I don't have any change." And I had to hold my composure, but I really want to tell him some bad words. I said to him, "You looked at my wheelchair. You didn't look at me as a man." Because when he started looking at me, I looked better than he did. Like I said, I was going to a fundraiser, and my fiance had dressed me this particular day, so I know I look better than he did. So he apologized. He said, "I always get hit up." So he wanted to give me all kind of people phone numbers and all kind of things. But it's a sad situation for people to be in that position and then to have that mindset. And that's why I say, that's why I really fight for the disability community, because I am an individual. Like I take pride in my appearance. I take pride in the vehicles that I drive. And, I'm all right. I'm not a victim for my situation. The life that I chose, that my disability, that was part of the life that I chose. Technically, I'm supposed to be in life. I'm supposed to be in jail for the rest of my life, or dead. This has been God's plan. So I fight for this community because I understand a lot of these individuals, they didn't live the life that I lived. So I got a really a problem with it.
And
Edward,
you touched on it a little bit. Can you just share your backstory about what led to you being in the chair, what led to kind of your mission and vision? Do you mind sharing a little bit about your background?
No problem whatsoever. It started losing my father when I was 9 years old. My father was a Vietnam veteran, fought for this country. And everybody talk about George Floyd, Rodney King. Before that, it was a Peter Funches. And my father was beaten to death in New York City by New York City police officers. And that changed my life. When I turned 11 years old, I gravitated to the streets and I went hard in the streets. So I've been in the streets ever since then until, I got shot. I lived, like I said, the life that I lived, man. I mean, at the time, I thought it was I loved the life, and I said I was going to die in the streets. I didn't want to do anything else but sell drugs and take people's stuff. But, God has a way of showing you something totally different. Hello?
Yeah.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Okay.
Something
Yeah.
kicked in.
Yeah. I guess that other meat, where
Yeah.
was I at? What was that?
You were saying that God has interesting ways to.
Yeah, funny way of showing you something different. Like I said, I made a commitment to the streets. And God said, the power and the influence that I have in the streets, I'm going to show you something totally different. So he shot me down. The person that shot me was a person that was on my team. And the bullet could have hit me in my chest. It could have hit me in my heart or anything like that. But he shot me down for a reason. And my wheelchair has been a blessing to me. Like I said, at one point, I thought I felt like I was God in the streets. I did what I wanted to do. But I'm thankful that I am a representative of this community right here. Like I said, I've been in the streets since I was 11 years old. I did everything, been in and out of prison, twice in a wheelchair.
Edward, I can relate. The day I got blown up in Boston at the marathon in 2013, I had a big amount of cash in my pocket. I was going down a different path again that I had strayed from due to other reasons where God implemented and changed my direction.
Yeah.
I was acting a certain way. Things were happening, and God threw a deterrent and deterred me and sent me in a different direction. Well, I ended up back in that similar situation. That day, I had, like I said, a re-up money in my pocket, and I lost my leg. And God introduced me to a bigger community. I was building off-street music. I was leaving my job the day I got blown up and lost my leg because I was going to focus on off-street music, opportunity for focused students to reach endless education through music, taking inner city kids off the street so they didn't risk what me and my buddies risked, right? So I could teach them the value of education through music they love, hip hop, R&B, reggae, and all this different stuff, and teach them how to make legit money legally in the music industry. And provide that as an after-school program with the Boys and Girls Club of America in Woburn, Massachusetts. So, like you said, I was blessed again, and God sat me down and he reintroduced me to a community that is an underserved community here, right? And fragmented. And with my skill set that I developed in my life, owning my own entertainment business, doing promotions, marketing, events with all these different musicians, DJs, and artists and clubs. He showed me this community like you, and that's why when Matt told me about you, I had to talk to you. So keep going. I'm sorry to interrupt you. When I hear that moment of God and you talk about sitting you down and this being a blessing, this is my biggest blessing.
Yeah. So I'm thankful. Thankful.
You definitely have shown through your choices in life after your incident that anyone can rise up from anything. We all have the power to make, the right decisions to make a positive impact on, our community, and to not be defined by our wheelchair, but use it as a tool to empower us to make change in the world. One of the things I wanted to ask you, you're very involved with, those that are justice involved and supporting them. What are some of the failures of the justice system when people are paroled and other things? And what are you doing to try to make a difference in some lives?
Well, the failure is, starts with employment. Like they, especially when you're in prison, you're forced to work. They got something called unicorn call craft. Those are multi-million dollar private companies inside these institutions, and they force you to work. When you get out, they tell you to go find a job. And it's hard when you have felonies and you're trying to get your life together. For me, my last time when they let me out, they gave me some fines and stuff like that. How you expect a person to pay a fine when you have no means of doing anything else? So that's what the prison system are really doing to individuals, doing you a disservice. So what we do at Inclusion is we employ these individuals because, like I said, I've been through it. I understand exactly what they go through, and that's what we do is we try our best to employ individuals as soon as they get out. Because if what we believe at Inclusion is if you can employ somebody, you empower them, and that's how you enrich the community.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Edward, so with that being said, I've always looked at, Section 8 and welfare and all that stuff too, because being a one of three children raised by a single mother that worked 3 jobs, right? My buddies, that I was at, so at the marathon bombing, there was 3 of us, and 2 of them were brothers, like siblings, and that mom, and what we all went through and growing up and how we all grew up, and now my brother is actually in law enforcement, and when he pulled over my buddy's mother and the car was unregistered, the guy's like, oh, you got to tow her car. He goes, how do you do that to somebody? I know her situation. That's like my family. Like, and not that we were close as family and he wasn't doing, but he's like my aunt, my mother. Like we've been in that situation financially, couldn't afford to register that vehicle right now, trying to get to work, trying to go pick the kids up from school. Like, how am I going to add a burden of that bill to that person? Right? Like you said, you got these fines. Like if you were in jail working for these billion-dollar corporations, forced to work, why wouldn't your fines paid off by them? Right? And so my brother was like, I want to give her a warning. I don't want to tow the car because she'll have to go let her get somebody, whatever, driver's license is expired or something. Let her get figured out because you're not really helping. You're only hurting the situation. And that's unfortunate with our system. I've had family members and people in the system that have a job, don't make enough money to maybe afford health care, but then we're forced, even with the Biden administration, forced people, you're penalized in taxes if you didn't have health insurance, right? $800 fine on your taxes, whatever it was. Like, and it's not anything about a political party. I don't care for any of them. But what it is they were forced to quit their jobs to receive the assistance that they needed. So in Massachusetts, I don't know if you're familiar, it's about $60,000 a year in benefits that you'll receive if you're unemployed, right? Instead of taking someone who's employed, that's living check to check, and then just give them that item that they need. If it's, cover their health insurance at $1,200 a month, right? Now it's only a $24,000 investment into a person who's working, paying taxes, generating income, and giving back into the community and feeling stronger about themselves. So I hear when you speak about this inclusion, you hear about what you're doing. I love it because it's a broken system all around. And for someone like you that's lived through it, you're so knowledgeable on it. I'm sure you have the best solutions. And my solution with Section 8 and assistance was, like if someone's working at least 20 hours a week, give them, instead of making them quit their job, or if they're making $30,000, give them $30,000 in benefits that bring them to the 60,000. Now you can help 2 people, not just one. And I love hearing Edward. Keep going, talking. Tell us about what you're working on and what you're doing, because I see this all day.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we're working. Right now, I'm getting involved in the politics. They just made me one of the vice presidents of the 504 Democratic Club. So I'm getting involved in the politics of it, But I got even with that, it's a lot of, and I would like to say bullshit. You understand me? But you got to be at the table. If you're not at the table, nothing can happen. So I'm thankful that they're inviting me to the table, because this inclusion, this movement is really, really big. I have over 100 individuals with me, and individuals that I deal with, we're not just ordinary individuals. We're all of it extraordinary. Some of these individuals that controlled a lot of things inside these streets, now we're doing something totally different. Instead of, dealing with the negative aspect, that we all doing something positive right now. Like I said, so I can snatch individuals as soon as they get out of prison. This is what we're doing now. So now, we've been fortunate enough to, get a nice big contract with the Department of Transportation. And the pay is great. I pay individuals $56.40 an hour, 5 days a week. That's good money, $1,700 a week for these individuals. And I'm showing them that you still can make money doing something totally different, man. But we just need more, these agencies, to, give us more opportunities.
Yeah. I mean, what
You
I
said
was
something-
amazed with,
You said something.
well, what I was amazed with,
Sorry, I was.
the platform of your business is that you empower these individuals, right? So you give them access to generating their own funds, managing the money of the business. And I had asked you once, aren't you concerned with somebody stealing from you or something else? You said, look, these people actually appreciate what they have access to, that they protect it and don't want to lose it. So it's actually quite the opposite of being concerned. You had one incident with one of your employees that all of them got on and said, don't ruin it for the rest of us.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, right? And that's really what amazed me is like, you and I have had many conversations about, the lack of opportunities and the way they're set up for failure when they're discharged, when they're paroled from jail with $500 in their pocket and told, just show up to your parole officer on this. No guidance on what to do, what the next steps. You're not giving them the tools to be successful. You're setting them up to return back to jail, right?
Yeah.
Where your model is actually showing them, giving them the opportunity. Many of your people, I think most of your people, don't return. They thrive.
That's right. I mean, and that's what it's about, showing them an opportunity, because at the end of the day, it's about making some money, and I always know how to make money. When I was in the streets, I know how to make money. So now I'm showing that we still can make money, you still can enjoy your life doing this right here, like, and especially the jobs that we have. We're doing the jobs that really no one wants to do. No one want to wash cars. No one want to pick anything up off side of the highways, and that's what we're doing right now, and that's, and it's been working, man. So as far as individuals stealing, you only be stealing from yourself. If you're taking something from this here company right here, every last one of 99% of the individuals that I employ are all formerly incarcerated individuals. And, I done been through it. So like, that's why it's easy for me. Like I said, I've been in the streets since I was 11 years old, and I done made me a ton of money in the streets. But I'm showing them now, you can do the same, live your life. You can do the same thing, stay focused, and I'm thankful for the individuals that work with me, because, my business is predicated on manual labor. And for me to create a company that requires manual labor, and I haven't picked up anything off the streets, I haven't washed any cars, anything like that. And I have these individuals doing this. It's the same individuals that was on these streets that people would be afraid of. Same individuals running around with guns in their pockets, selling drugs, standing on corners. Now they're gainfully employed.
Yeah. You're showing people a different way.
Yes.
And just retraining that mindset. I mean, I had a buddy that was doing exactly what you're talking about. And I said, why would you imply that effort into a legitimate business? I said, you're spending hours, days and nights looking over your shoulder. You could spend half a fraction of the time, and you could turn that into a legit business and be successful.
That's right.
And I didn't think of that. I said, man, you've been working all night. I said, all night. You got to get up, run around, pick up, drop off, worry, looking over your shoulder. I said, imagine just creating a business and just living the legitimate care service.
You said something earlier about hustling. So a lot of times, at one point, I thought hustling was negative. Hustling is anything that you want to be successful. And that's what I'm telling them. The hustle, the product is different. You understand me? Because at the end of the day, I'm hustling every day. I'm not doing anything negative anymore. And it feels extremely good.
Feels
Yeah.
great. It
Again,
feels
you
great.
know-
And you said something earlier I want to touch base on. I'm sorry. It's when that guy approached you and how that guy treated you being in a wheelchair. Right? So Edward, I think it's mainly because of what our community has built as a reputation, right? Like as an image, right? We're difficult to deal with. We're always looking for a handout. You get what I mean? So when someone sees us, it's like, oh, they're a victim. We need to help them. We need to give them something. And then like your case, you're like, get out of here. I ain't no victim. I'm just in a wheelchair and I'm killing it right now. You know what I mean? Like you said, I'm dressed better than you, right? Like people look at me and my wife. My wife was born with no arms and no legs. Like we just got back from Ireland. We were in France. We were in Paris. We were in, we were just in Aruba. Like I'm traveling the country, traveling the world. Yeah. Don't feel bad for us. She graduated Texas A&M. You know what I mean? With no arms and no legs. So I love like your whole mentality. And I had a question about that. Like, how do you feel like as a community of people and you're a double, right? Like, so now you're a part of the disability mobility community, but you're also a part of the incarcerated family that's been released, changing the way, right? So you're like a double-edged sword here. And
no, let me.
Do you hold responsibility to the organization?
Let me correct you. Disability, formerly incarcerated, homeless, and veterans. That's what I stand for. That's what inclusion is built on. I deal with the disability aspect of it because I am disabled, but I'm not a victim. Formerly incarcerated, I've been going in and out of prison since I was 14 years old. Homeless, at one point, I was homeless, and not your traditional homeless. I tell individuals, if your name is not on a lease or a deed and somebody have the ability to tell you to leave, then you're homeless. And I was in that situation. I used to have to sleep in my car because I had a young lady tell me she had a real nasty mouth. And she used to always say, you cannot take it when I exhale. You understand? You don't have to be here. You can leave. And that's a horrible feeling when you have no place to go. Mm-hmm. So, and also I represent veterans. I told you my father was a Vietnam veteran. So I speak these 4 languages.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, so my main question is what I was getting at was, do you feel that we as a community of people with disabilities, like our past generations of people, are viewed a certain way due to our activity, right? And I don't think we as a community should ever rely on local government, meaning like your local city government, your state government, or our federal government. I think we're capable of separating from them in the sense of, utilize them as contracts for our businesses that we own. We can own business, we could generate income, we can employ one another, and we could do this on our own and make that difference. That's what I believe. And don't wait for anybody else to touch it because they'll just break it, right? Mm-hmm. We're a community of 60 million people that control $1 trillion in spend every year. Yeah. We move the needle. You get what I mean? We just need to come back together. And that's why it's stronger together.
Say it again.
Based on our disabilities. Yeah, we're stronger together. That's what it is. It's our numbers. Yeah. We've been divided by our disabilities intentionally, just as we've been divided by our race, just by our religious beliefs. The government and people and hierarchies have been dividing us for centuries because we're weaker, because we're smaller numbers. Spinal cord injuries, amputations, MS, Parkinson's, CP, you keep going down the list, brain injury, and when you divide us into those groups, we're small and we no longer have a voice. That's but right. If we all come together that utilize and face similar challenges, we're so much stronger, and now we're moving the needle. So I love what your inclusion.
Yeah, you asked me about inclusion, and that's what inclusion was for, to be included into the world. The world, because we separate ourselves when we started, because I don't hang out with people with disabilities. You understand me? I'm hanging out, and I never really considered myself as disabled until I went to that expo. I said, oh my God, this is what's going on for this community. And I want to pull the individuals out of that. You don't have to hang out with people with this. So you can hang out in this free world like everybody. Like you said, you and your wife, y'all traveling across the way. We are doing everything everybody else is doing. But we're looked upon differently. You know, we're the same clothes everybody else is wearing. When I was talking about the magazine, we're not being in market, we're not being marketing, we're not being advertised.
Mhm.
We're spending money like everybody else, but everybody else makes money off our community but us. So, you know, I mean, like you said, collectively, we separate ourselves collectively, and we can come together because we all in this right here together.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Let's
that's
change
what we
it.
started this.
Stronger together.
Yeah.
These are
That's 100%. That's part of what our challenge is. We've also created our own divide within our own,
yes,
right? And realizing that we all have a shared interest in driving the needle the other way, of bringing awareness that, yeah, you know, my chair is only my device to get from A to B. It doesn't define who I am, doesn't make me any different than the other person, doesn't change my spending habits, doesn't change anything. But part of it is our own community saying, you know, I am not, you know, I'm not defined by my disability. I am a person and I want to be heard and seen and respected and engaged and not shy away from the engagement. When you encountered that person, there were a lot of people that would have gotten angry and either lashed out or ran the other way. But you engaged and said, look, I'm not here for any handouts. I'm not here for anything. And you explained your position and stood your ground, changing his mentality. It starts with one person and then spans out. I think what we've seen from efforts of like Mark Networks and Inclusions and all those other agencies, we are starting to see more representation on commercials, representation in ads. I was in Target the other day, and you know, the pictures on the wall above the clothing, there was actually several people in wheelchairs being displayed there. That would not happen if not for the efforts of people like you and Mark and others out there, you know, going out to photo shoots and saying, look, I want to be a model just like this person, putting themselves out there and pursuing those things.
We do
One
have
of
8
the things,
minutes.
yeah, one of the
Just a
things
heads up,
that,
time.
yeah,
I
one
see
of
that.
the things that you had done, two areas that I know you're passionate about. Speaking along the lines of this, you know, can you speak about what you would like to see in the automotive industry change as one of the
Wow.
industry?
That's something, man, that's really like I don't understand how they keep getting away with this here. The auto industry, like they're definitely not in compliance when it comes down to the disability community. They got more people that had accidents and paralyzed for car accidents, motorcycle accidents, and they're not in compliance at all. So what I tried to do a few years ago with the help of Matt and a few other individuals, to bring awareness about the auto industry, you know, and I wasn't aware of it myself. And a lot of times people that with a disability, you feel good that you're able to drive. So you're not even thinking about nothing else. But I had two brand new cars. I had a Cadillac and I had a Mercedes. And I used to take the Cadillac into service. And the head service guy, he had brought it to my attention. He said, you shouldn't have to go through this right here because when you take a car in, they give you a loaner car. And they wasn't able to give me a loaner car because they didn't have a loaner car there for me. He was like, so he used to always make sure I get in, you know, service the car and I can get in and out. And I thought about it. I said, wow, this is not right at all. You know, I was fortunate enough to have another vehicle. So when they take my vehicle in, I'm gonna use it. But everyone is not like that. So like with the auto industry, man, I think, you know, I mean, I'm never going to stop this right here because since 2000, I purchased 23 vehicles. That's a lot of vehicles, 23 vehicles, and I was never able to test drive none of the vehicles. I always had to get somebody else to test drive the vehicle and tell me how the vehicle operates. So, you know, I really, you know, collectively, I need a team collectively to get together to bring, you know, awareness to the auto industry because they're not in compliance. They got cars driving themselves. They don't even think about us. They got car. I mean, watched the commercial the other day. I think it's the Kia commercial, one of the commercials where it is out the car getting. I mean, that'll help us out as people with disabilities. The other day I was at the mall and I didn't park in the handicapped location. I came back out. I couldn't get in my car because the car was next to me. I couldn't get in, so I had to wait. but they got this new remote control where the car can back itself out or park itself. And I said, wow, but like, these are the things that I think that, I would like to bring awareness of, because they bypassing our community. They're not even consulting us. And these are jobs that we can have. When it come down to these types of things, Pete got something he made for cars, because me getting inside of my car, I used to scratch the side of my car up.
Yeah.
So now I appreciate that, but at the end of the day, it need to be marketing. It need to be marketing because it is a tool. He can be able to petition that to the auto industry. You understand me? And they talk about, we're not asking for them to create nothing specifically for us, because cruise control is for any and everybody. Cruise control, you're using your hand, you're not using your feet. So that's automatically will include us in so that they create these hand controls or all the stuff on the steering wheel. And I paid some money for it. I got a book over here that I paid some money. I did a study for it. It's all into the steering wheel. And they tell me to stop talking about it. I need to get we need to get, I'm speaking to us because Matt's a part of this here. Said, Matt, we need to get us an auto engineer for them to help us design it, because it's all with the steering wheel. I paid for it. I paid for the study right here. I'm gonna show you the book. I
love it.
I paid for them to do the study right here in bed. So they told you exactly what to do. So what we would need is put together a prototype, use a vehicle, having somebody that has the ability to connect. And I think all of the mechanisms are right there. Cruise control, all that's connected to gas and the brake. If you want Excel or DXL, it's there already.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's a hard thing for them to add. I don't think so. And me and Matt have talked about it in the industry of RVing. You go to an RV campground, they have handicap parking. They have accessible trails on the federal, land, right? And why aren't RVs making 36-inch wide doors so people get in and out of elevators? It's no structural change, just a bathroom, just little tweaks that everybody would benefit from, Edward. You said it. Everybody could benefit from something. It's the stairs versus the ramp. Everybody can walk up a ramp or wheelchair up a ramp. Not everybody can go upstairs. It's that same mentality with vehicles and making simple adjustments.
Yeah, and
it's
going to take our voice to make them hear it. And we got to scream it loud from the mountaintops that, a fully inclusive environment. Like you just said, Mark, a ramp anyone can use. A doorway to an RV being wider means more sales for the RV company, more opportunities, right? Vehicles that I can go and just hop into and not have to put my portable hand controls into the car to use the loaner option on my car. I mean, it's just simple things, but it starts with our community coming together. The stronger together piece of it. We're coming together and saying each and every one of those 10 types of disabilities that you name, and there's much more than that, need to have where collectively our voice is louder and they have to hear us. But we need to come together to have that loud voice and be heard. So we're coming up to the 2 o'clock hour.
Yeah, we're at 2 o'clock right now. So
we good.
Is there anything you got time?
Yeah.
You got a little bit of time?
Yeah.
All right. So
you want to talk about the award ceremony?
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, did I share with you want to talk about your award ceremony then?
Which one are you talking about?
The one that
Which one?
the one that you just launched last year, the
10-year
mark?
Yes. You know what? I mean, it was something that, I want to keep it going, man, for the fact that we don't get recognized for the work that we're doing, and you played a pivotal role in, the things that I've been doing. So it was a fit for me to, give you and a whole lot of individuals that help inclusion to be where we at this point. And I think, that's why I created Inclusion Legacy Awards. It was the first one. The turnout was extremely well. And it's something I just thought about, and it came together well without even the preparation, because a lot of this stuff is new to me, and I did it at really like the last minute, I'm looking forward to continuing it and want to continue to give individual awards because, like I said, we're not being acknowledged for the work that we're doing. There's so many people in our community that are doing so much, but it's always hidden. Even when they have the Olympics and stuff like that, a lot of stuff it's like separate. It's like a separate entity. It's never included. So I want to start bringing this type of stuff to the forefront.
That was also a big mission of the Marc Network. That's why I created this community, to give out the Mobility Awareness Resource Community awards, recognizing physical, occupational therapists, recognizing individuals like Matt, Dick Traum, who was the first above the knee amputee to run the New York Marathon, in 1978 or 79. And then he started Achilles to bring people with disabilities to run, and he paved the way for me to be doing the Marine Corps Marathon in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? 3 weeks. So it's, that's, dude, our passions all align. Matt's too. I think we should be honored, recognized for all the hard work and changes that we do. And I say it all the time, Edward, I want to build a parallel world and universe next to the able-bodied people with the disabled community. And you said it perfectly. I eat Burger King, I eat McDonald's, I eat Subway, I wear regular clothes, I wear shoes. Even though I'm missing a leg, I still buy a pair of shoes because I got prosthetics. So why wouldn't Nike or Adidas want to advertise to me as a community? And that's why I started the Marc Network. I own a digital advertising marketing community.
And outside of that, right, what I wanted with the auto industry, right? Because also I wanted to create, like for them to get involved, like when they see me getting in, or anybody, for that matter, getting into a vehicle, and they're like, oh my God, some people stop and look. You understand me? Because I
challenging to get in and out.
Challenging, but it looks good.
Yeah.
This man in a wheelchair getting in this Mercedes or whatever, this kind of car right here. And it looks good. So for the vehicle, it's bringing advertising to the vehicle.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of stuff, man, that
they could do little things to make it better for us.
What the problem is, I'm gonna tell you what the problem is, right? And it's sad because now I get invited to a lot of events, and when I go in there, the first thing I look for to see if I see somebody with a visible disability, and I never see that. Yeah. I never see it, and that's the problem we have. We are never invited to the table. I went to Con Edison had a big event the other day, and I went there. I look around, the only person with a visible disability, and I started talking to the lady. We're doing stuff for the disability community. I said, y'all doing stuff. Put somebody in a position that can make a difference. Make a difference. We're never in a position that we can make a difference, because at the end of if you're in a position that can make the difference in Con Edison, of course you're going to help out. You see somebody coming with a disability, you're going to help that community. You understand exactly what we go through. They don't have individuals in those positions that can make a difference, and that's where
I just witnessed that with a big organization that services our community. I'm not going to drop names, but I was at an event, and all the people participating in the event were people with disabilities. The people running the event, I saw one person out of the whole team of people. And I'm like, so now I'm not running. I'm not a part of that event. Why ain't I? Because I'm in a wheelchair, because I have a prosthetic leg. Do you know I put on 10 times bigger events than these people are putting on right here, right now? But if I was an able body, I'd be sitting in that position right now, running that organization and running that event, or not running the organization, but being a part of that organization, right? No, that's how I really felt. So what you're saying is so true, because I put on concerts. My musicians open for Funk Flex, Sugar Hill Gang, Black Sheep, Talib Kweli, Method Man, Eve from the Rough Riders. I did shows at, House of Blues in Cambridge. I did the a Middle East nightclub in Cambridge. We did Lansdowne Street, Bill's Bar. I put on events at Good Times Emporium, the first hip hop, R&B, reggae, rap, hip hop, jazz, spoken word poetry show. And now here I am, because I'm in a wheelchair and I'm in a leg. I'm at an event that only one guy that's a veteran was an amputee running and helping with this. And then everybody else was able-bodied people running the event. I'm like, why aren't we at the table? Why wouldn't I be running that? I could do that event with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
But because I'm in a wheelchair, I'm viewed different.
But here's my question to you guys is, the opportunities are there, and you're obviously going to them. I know you go to a lot in New York City. Do you think part of the challenge is that our community is not putting themselves out there and taking advantage of these opportunities, being present, making themselves, get themselves invited to these things?
I do.
No, I think we're not invited. We're not invited at all. We're not invited. We're not included. And then some of the places they invite us, like me too, right? Some of the places not even accessible. So now I'm gonna say this right here, right? Because I just joined this organization. It's the African American Chamber of Commerce in New Jersey, and it's a big organization, really big. And they have some major corporations that go to these places, right? And they get ready to give me an award. They give me an award next week, and it means a lot to me because for the communities that I represent. But I never would have been invited to this organization if it wasn't for Mr. Dunn, somebody that I know, and he happens to. And I met him, knowing him through he was trying to get into the music industry. And he had an artist. He wanted to put his artist on K Slade. God bless the soul, K Slade soul. Yeah. He wanted to put his artist on K Slade. So I happened to be at his house, and I said, "Well, I can call K Slade." I called K Slade for him, and he didn't think I had the power like that. So K Slade, I'm going to do it on the strength. I said, "No. I need my strength. Don't use my strength. You keep my strength for me. Whatever y'all decide to do, y'all decide to do on that." But Mr. Dunn, ever since then, we created a relationship, and I always share the work that I'm doing. So he's seen the work. He said, "Oh my God," he couldn't believe it. So he invited me to the chamber, and when I got there, it really blew my mind because I had the first chamber I went to. You had the black tuxedos and all this. So I pull up, and I've never been a part of this community right here because it's a separate community from where I come from. And I go there. We're sitting at the table. He introduced me to some people as his guests. And I'm a nosy person. So a few days later, I'm watching the news, and they got Marc McDonough, the president of New Jersey Waterway. I said, "Oh my God, I was at the table with this guy, right? I got his card right here." And it made me feel good. I wound up having a meeting with him. Till this day, he wants to work with the disability community because it's about the individuals that you're meeting. But we're really never invited because for whatever reason is people they stereotype us. So they look at you as a person that's with a disability. He's not going to come or just don't invite us. But I make it my business to go to all of these events now. Every event that I possibly can go to. And that first thing I look around and see if I see somebody with a visible disability.
Man.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's wild to see that and hear that, and it's so nuts because if me and you didn't have a disability, we'd probably be at those events. You know what I mean? Because of our mentality and our skill set that we preside. But it is sad to see that we're viewed like we can't contribute or we don't add value. But if I was behind the screen and you didn't know I was missing a limb or you were paralyzed in a wheelchair, it would be a different conversation.
Yeah.
It really would. And it's sad. It's sad. But I think we're getting into a better position. I think we are. I think we're heading in the right direction, at least as a community. What do you got to say, Matt?
It starts with.
No, you can go ahead.
Well, it starts with what we're doing. It starts with what we're doing because at the end of the day, it is so many people in our community that are movers and shakers. But what we started talking about collectively, if we're separating ourselves, then it's not going to work for us. If we come together collectively, we can do what we want to do, showing them how strong we are. You understand me? And bringing awareness to who we are and what we're doing. We all are doing something amazing. You understand me?
So where's that one place? That's why I created the Marc Network. I created a mobile app that could be in everybody's hand. It's an Instagram, Facebook, where we all could gather and we all could be shared messages from one location. You can share all your message. Matt will get it. Matt can share his message. You and I will get it, and everybody. Because we could try to get to collectively together, but where do we do that one location? It has to be on a virtual, has to be on a mobile device. And that's why I created the Marc Network. So you're speaking to me like in love language, really, because that's why I created, because collectively, where is that one place we go right now with all our disabilities? Not like Amputee Coalition, we could go there, but that's just amputees. We could go to United Spinal, which United Spinal now is growing and expanding, which I love to see. And that's why I partnered with Matt and United Spinal, because they're seeing their services actually benefit more than just spinal cord injury people. And that's where we're growing as a community, and I love it. And what you're saying is we do need to come, because globally, we're 1.8 billion people affected by mobility disability. That's bigger than the population of China. But like you said, we're doing our little things all here, and here, and separating ourselves from each other when we need to be coming together to have that bigger voice. And that's like I said, I love when Matt told me about what you're doing. I was like, yeah, I need to talk to this guy. He's doing great things.
Well, we all doing great things, man. I appreciate what your story, man. I mean, we all doing something great. And like I said, it starts with individuals like ourselves. And you said something earlier about, you talking about not religious, but politics. That separates us. You understand me? It separates us, man. I mean, at the end of the day, man, we all got a common goal. You understand me? Now, they just pushed me in this position, but I accept it, because at the end of the day, when you have a title, a lot of times people respect the title. You understand me? I never was a part of politics. I didn't care nothing about it. Religion, I'm a person that believes in God, but at the end of the day, I know it, everybody respects this right here, money. You got some money, they respect the money.
Everything.
That's
the needle.
Yeah, I believed in having some money, and I always was able to keep a nice dollar in my pocket, and people respect that, but if we can look.
So what you said with politics, what's the one thing, the most important thing right now in your life for your family that we all agree on?
Well, for me, man,
what do you want for your family?
I want for my family, man, to just be able to take care of my family and show them that, what I have created, man, it's bigger than me. You understand me? And I wish my whole family can be involved in what I'm dealing with, because, the name inclusion speaks for itself. Like, I'm not smart enough to think of a name like that, to create a company like that. I'm not smart enough to create Celebrity Report magazine. And I said that's got to be God, because when I did the magazine, first I started off passing out shirts and having interviews, holding up shirts, and I'm saying to myself, they don't even know what this is. Only thing they see is Celebrity Report magazine, because everybody want to be a celebrity, everybody want to be included. So and I'm thankful that I've been able to create these things and having people respect exactly what it is.
Wow.
So what I was getting at is, I want my family to be fed and safe. Right. And I feel that you want the same thing, right?
Yes,
no matter our religious beliefs, no matter our political beliefs, I feel, as a community and as individuals, we focus on the same things that we agree on, because at the end of the day, if we're funding this or funding that or funding this, I don't care if my family's not safe. If I can't go out of my house or my kid can't go to school and be safe, I don't care about anything else in the world if my family's not safe. And I don't care on anything else in the world if I'm not eating right now, and other people aren't eating, so that's where I think politically, if we focus on our core needs as humans, as a human, human society, because we're all human, right? I mean, everything else has been told to us of what we are. We all bleed blood, right? We all live and die, and we all need to eat and breathe oxygen, or we're dead. So I think if we focus on those as a community, these politicians, that's all business stuff, like that they're treating it as. Not saying you entering politicians, but I mean, they're getting fat. Their pockets are fat. Their insurance is fat. No decision they make affects them. Every decision that they choose to do affects us as other people outside of their group. So, man, I love the fact that you're getting recognized. I love the fact that you're getting in there and having this opportunity, because I feel your vision and your mindset is the right mindset that we need in political, in the political game, because you can relate to so many different levels, success, failures, overcoming and challenges. And my piece to you is, at the end of the day, I would hope that you'd keep in mind the goal of safety, right? Everybody deserves to be safe, and everybody's family deserves to be safe. And those core values that just, because that's what everybody cares about, no matter the political beliefs. All that other heavy right wing, heavy left wing stuff, I mean, that stuff honestly needs to go away. The extremes. We need to get back into the core of society that made us strong. And I hope, and I wish you the best with it.
I think one of the things you touched on, yes, those things, but I think also inclusive opportunity, right? To be able to
that's basic. That's food and safety and love.
Programs and support systems to ensure stability, quality of life, income. What Ed does in New York City should be a model done across the country, where individuals, no matter where you're coming from, what challenges you face, what past decisions you made, should not impact your opportunity to be able to access a stable life and income. You set people up for failure. You set them dependent on a system if you don't give them opportunities to have a job, have stability, see the value, feel empowered. When you come out, whether you're talking about coming out of jail or coming out of a rehab center, right? A lot of times those opportunities that should be there are not available to individuals because we're prejudged. There's, right? The moment you entered a room, that politician saw you. He saw the wheelchair, he saw a disability, he labeled you before you even opened your mouth. Those people that work for you, that are cleaning those cars and doing those things, right? They want to work. They want to, but people see them and see their rap sheet and make a prejudgment against them, And I think the most important thing is erasing all those prejudgments and giving opportunities to show people and give the tools to the people so that they can build their own life of independence and quality, because then they become contributors to our society, paying taxes, putting money in, buying houses, buying the clothes, buying the stuff. But if you don't give someone the opportunity, then you're setting up our society to fail.
That's right.
Poor decisions are made through desperate times, right? In what you do, Edward, is you providing them jobs, takes out that desperate times out of the equation, which prevents them from making poor decisions.
That's right.
That's what I love about what you're doing. And Matt, you said it perfect. It's the failure. It's already set up. Like, people coming out of jail with nothing to do. We got to create a better support system in that sense. And like you said, that hustle mentality was always negative. But I had a learning disability in middle school. I had a great resource teacher that showed me the way to change my disability into a positive in my learning disability, and how to focus it properly. And that's what I see what you're doing. And that's why I'm so glad you're in a position of coming into a party that needs, and coming into a political position to be able to educate people, because that's the education people need. Like Matt said, it's that opportunity needs to be there for success, and it's not. But you're making it so that success is there, taking that desperate situation from making poor decisions. So if they got money in their pocket, they're not hustling. They're not robbing people.
That's right. That's right.
Beautiful.
We have the opportunity. you're giving them the opportunity. We all have the opportunity to either be success or failures, right? You can make good decisions or bad decisions, but if we have the tools to be successful, you're going to be more inclined to make the right decisions and be empowered
That's right.
than go the other way. So,
We're
listen,
gonna
Ed,
wrap it up. Edward, you
yeah.
have some stuff that I want you to talk about. If there's anything you want to leave our viewers with, I mean, I know you have an Instagram, inclusion_TM and on Instagram. So is there anything else you want to leave the community with? You want to talk about? This is your time. This is your chance to shine. Promote something, an event, a business.
My thing is, I want individuals that watching to know that, if you're looking to change people's lives, give them opportunities, opportunities, jobs. That's how you change the community. Like I said, we believe in the 3 E's: employ, empower, and enrich. If you're able to employ somebody, you empower them, and that's how you enrich the community. A lot of these companies talk about equal opportunity, diversity, and inclusion, but we're not at the table. Give us these opportunities to be at the table, and we can make changes in people's lives.
Well said. Well said.
Unbelievable.
Listen, Ed, thank you very much, for joining us today. We really appreciate all the great work you're doing. I value you as a friend, as a advocate in our community, and listen, thank you for sharing your story, being very transparent, showing people what's possible with the right mindset, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Mark,
both.
you got
Ed, yeah, I just want to say thank you to Ed, Edward, Ed, I don't what you go by 100%, but
It's so good.
man, keep doing what you're doing, buddy. Yeah,
Yes.
you're killing it. I love it. And if there's anything you need from me or my community on the app, please reach out. Don't hesitate. And from another person in your community, if you ever need an extra mind that ain't, that's pretty sharp, I'm here for you to support you in any way.
That's definitely what, like I said, collectively. You understand me? I'm glad that Matt introduced, me to you, and so we definitely can. Let's not let this be our last conversation. Me and Matt talks on a regular basis, and I would like to. So I know we got a lot of things that we can do. I got one of the issues that I want to continue to tackle, Matt, is the auto center industry, man. I think they're looking past us.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
totally
I think we can get. I agree, because I drive multiple vehicles and an RV, and me and my wife are disabled, and I'm not happy with it. So we can let's do it. I'm in.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, all our viewers. Check out Edward's story. Follow him on Instagram. Look forward to seeing you guys at the next episode. Matt, thank you. Always a great time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Blessed day, guys. Have a good one.
Okay.